Hey race fans, head down to the all-new Clubhouse Racebook and get in the game. With live horse racing on more than 250 flat-screen TVs, state-of-the-art wagering terminals, fantastic food and drinks, an amazing Vegas-style atmosphere with seating for nearly 900 of your closest friends. Conveniently located at 711 Central Avenue, right off Exit 5 of I-90 in Albany, the Clubhouse Racebook is the better choice.
Hey, we've got a new show.
We do.
Absolutely, and they're off right here on the OTB TV network Sunday morning.
What's it all about?
It'll be a lot of fun. Fast-paced, plenty of topics, guests, handicapping, commentary, and maybe some opinions.
I have opinions on my opinions.
And we will have plenty of them because you're on the show. And they're off Sunday mornings here on the OTB TV network, 10 a.m. each Sunday. Should be a lot of fun. Anthony Mormino, Seth Merrill. We'll see you there.
I'm sorry, I went.
In a recent study of some of the top online wagering sites, Capital OTB won big in total player rewards, far surpassing some of the best-known wagering sites in America. While other rewards programs simply offer you points redeemable for gift cards, Capital OTB's rebates are paid to you in actual cash. Plus, Capital OTB gives you full and immediate access to your money. So if all you're getting now are points and gift cards, join Capital OTB Player Rewards today and get cash back. Visit CapitalOTBBet.com and sign up today.
This is the OTB Television Network, a service of Capital District Off-Track Betting.
Broadcasting live from the Capital OTB studios, this is Racing Across America with Seth Merrill.
Good morning and welcome to Racing Across America. I'm Seth Merrill. Thanks for joining us. Happy St. Patrick's Day. When I went out of the house this morning, I thought this was kind of greenish, and as I got in here under the lights, it's more gold, but I have a green highlighter, so I do have some green today. But happy St. Patrick's Day. Cheltenham over in the UK, Ireland fans and whatnot have been rooting for that all week long. I was on the radio with Steve Bick on Wednesday, and we were talking about it. And Cheltenham usually, if you're not familiar, it's kind of the end of the jump season over there, and they have two distinct seasons, the flat season and the jump season in the wintertime. Although now with synthetic tracks, they have done a little more flat racing over the winter. But again, there's pretty much over in the UK a distinct flat season, spring to fall, and then the jump season. Cheltenham kind of wraps up the jump season. But you also think of it, I said on the radio, like the robin on your front lawn to signal the beginning of springtime. You think of Cheltenham, oh, okay, the calendar is turning. We're heading to spring, but Cheltenham kicked off this week on Tuesday just in time for us to get hit with our worst storm of the season. So it doesn't quite have that feel, but if you've been following along, Cheltenham always a lot of fun over in Europe. Again, wrapping up. It's a big race meet over there, wraps up their jump season. As I say, that's been going on for the last few days over there. And we, again, salute Europe and the UK, Ireland, and whatnot with St. Patrick's Day today over here. So again, hopefully everybody will enjoy the day, wear a little green today, and root for your favorite basketball team. And in fact, I will hit on some of the promos and events, which includes Mega March Madness. I'll also have to thank our friends at Gulfstream Park. Gulfstream Park champions start here. Mega March Madness here at the Clubhouse Racebook today, tomorrow, Sunday, as the basketball continues. Some interesting games last night and here yesterday afternoon. Good crowd in here at the Racebook, but there are also some promos plugged in. Folks were spinning the prize wheel during the afternoon. It was a lot of fun here yesterday. More online today. if you come to the Clubhouse Racebook, 711 Central Avenue in Albany. Again, you can watch all the games, get all the racing action as well throughout the weekend, as I say. Also today, the Bounty Bet continues, $1,683 and change up for grabs with the Bounty Bet this afternoon. A late pick for it. Aqueduct gets you in the action. More information at capitalotb.com. And we'll just give you a little early preview of next week. Next Wednesday, there's the Pick 4 online promotion with our friend Brian Addo administering that. Coming up on Friday, I'll be back in with a happy hour bankroll. They have upped the bankroll, should be a lot of fun. But with the expanded bankroll, they're expanding the number of people who can participate. So come on down and take your shot. 30 folks will be selected here at the Clubhouse, 5 more online, $750 bankroll a week from today here at the Clubhouse Racebook. And just a reminder, a week from tomorrow, it's Dubai World Cup Day here at the Clubhouse Racebook. An early opening, 8:30, doors open, and big day, Arrogate Gun Runner. Nice lineup of some American runners in the sprint as well. So mind your biscuits in there and some other nice sprinters. Stall walking, dude. Excuse me. Should be a lot of fun. A week from tomorrow, Dubai World Cup Day here at Capital OTB. Coming up on today's show, nice full show today. We have Andrew Dembski from Tampa Bay Downs coming up in a few. We'll do a little recap of their big day last Saturday, get some ideas for today as well. Jeff Taylor from Oaklawn Park. We'll get maybe a couple ideas for today, but they have a big day tomorrow with the Rebel, the Essex, the Azeri on their schedule tomorrow at Oaklawn. And then we'll wrap things up with Frank Vespi from the Racing Biz. We'll talk some racing at Laurel because they have a big stakes day as well. So we'll hit on plenty of the stakes action coming up tomorrow. A little recap of some that went on last week as well. All of that coming up a little bit later on. Do want to remind you, I mentioned it yesterday, but I want to give you a reminder again. Down Under tonight, Saturday afternoon in Australia, but about 11:45 tonight here, it's the George Ryder, a Grade 1, Group 1, $1 million purse, 7.5 furlong race at Rosehill in Australia. As far as our designation, it will be the 8th track in Australia. It'll be race 5A. But again, about 11:45. But I mention it because it is Winx who will be the number 8 horse. Winx trying for win number 16 in a row. She's had some losses in the career, but now has a 16-race win streak. I said yesterday, if you follow racing in Australia and look at the the media online, the mainstream media sports pages before and after she races, I'd compare it to Zenyatta when Zenyatta was at the height of her popularity over here. So again, she faces the boys again tomorrow. The 2 horses, odds-wise, she's even money on the morning line. And the 2 horses, odds-wise, who are closest to her, 9-1 and 14-1, Chautauqua and La Romaine, who are coming out of a first and second place finish last time in the Group 1 Canterbury and Randwick. So they're the logical contenders, but as I say, there's a pretty wide gap in the morning line odds. Even money jumps up to 9-1 as the second choice. So Winx tonight, again, about 11:45, race 5A on the Australia racing menu this evening. Gary Stevens, he'll be at Oaklawn this weekend. He's going to ride Appalachian Gem in the Rebel Stakes on the comeback from hip replacement surgery. Interestingly, there's a little article talking about his comeback and going to Oaklawn, a little article by Jay Privman in the Daily Racing Forum. And he said, and I think it was Steve Bick, I was talking to him, and I think he said that he had talked to Gary Stevens, said the same thing. He had knee replacement surgery earlier, and just recently the comeback from hip replacement. And surprisingly, he said the hip replacement was less of a comeback effort than the knee replacement. It's a kind of a less invasive type of surgery. So, but notably, got his first win on the comeback. Came back a week ago, just a touch more than a week ago, and got his first win on the comeback on Saturday. And again, Gary Stevens continues to come back with a trip down to Oaklawn. He'll be there tomorrow. Mastery recovering after successful surgery. Again, a disappointment on the Triple Crown Trail with his big win in the San Felipe this weekend with the 105 Beyer figure, one of the few triple digits tossed by 3-year-olds this year. And so it was a disappointment to see him pulled up on the far turn. But surgery was successful. Bob Baffert quoted as saying the surgery went very well. Mastery's back at the barn, got here last night. He's looking good. Baffert went on to say he'll stay there for at least a month, the barn. We'll just wait. It takes like 90 days for that to heal up, and then we'll decide. The decision being, will he race again? So there's 3 months before we'll have any answers on Mastery, but, knock wood, came out of the surgery well and hopefully gets back to the racetrack, because obviously what we saw this past Saturday shows a very, very talented horse. Speaking of Oaklawn and their big day tomorrow, they have bumped up their purses. Again, turning out to be another successful meet down at Oaklawn. But I've mentioned it before, you know, when we've had on Nancy Holthus, and like today we'll have Jeff Taylor on from Oaklawn. I mentioned, I think, to both of them as we've gone over races, looking at races, and the maiden special weight purses. They're bumping those up again. The maiden special purses have been $72,000. They're going to bump up to $80,000 for maiden races. The allowances could go up to about $84,000. So congratulations to the folks at Oaklawn who continue to kind of move forward. The Derby Trail down there with the Smarty Jones, the Rebel. Obviously, the Arkansas Derby has become very productive. And, you know, the Rebel tomorrow, $900,000. And there's a quote in here from one of the spokespeople, the assistant GM down there, who says the Rebel is no longer just a stepping stone to the Arkansas Derby. It stands on its own as a prep. And for $900,000, you understand why. And it's a nice salty field tomorrow that'll help start to continue, because I think the last couple of weeks we started to give them a little more definition to the 3-year-old class. We'll see how it shakes out tomorrow down at Oaklawn. As I say, we'll talk about that with Jeff Taylor in a few minutes as well. Juddmonte has bought the nice New York-based female sprinter type, Paula Silver Lining, as a future mate for Arrogate. Transferred out of the barn of Michelle Nevin and into the barn of Chad Brown. Paula Silver Lining will continue to race this year. Going to be pointed to the Grade 1 Madison at Keeneland on April 8th. Winner of 8 of 18 starts, over $1 million. As a 2-year-old, she won the Grade 2 Matron. Last year, she won the Grade 2 Gallant Bloom, the Grade 3 Vagrancy, the Grade 3 Distaff. But the folks at Juddmonte thought be a good matchup for Arrogate, quoted as saying she's the type of mare that you could hope could be a really nice addition to the broodmare band, but most especially a good mate for Arrogate. So plans already in the works. These breeders thinking ahead. Arrogate's still racing. Paula Silver Lining still racing this year, but they're looking to the 2018 breeding season. Interesting article out of the Blood Horse talking about kind of a subsequent deal reached at Finger Lakes. It was a week and a half or so ago that they said there was going to be a deal, that there was a deal reached. There would be racing in 2017 at Finger Lakes. It would be a little bit of an abbreviated schedule. Sometime in the summer they would kind of reassess things because they were pulling in money from different sources, including the new casino out there, which is competition. But this is kind of interesting. They did I guess an add-on agreement that is going to kind of guarantee racing for at least a couple of years up there. And there was an interesting quote in here that came out of a statement from New York State. And the quote is, in return, talking about money that's going to Finger Lakes for their purses over this deal, but in return, Finger Lakes commits to a dialogue relative to racing surfaces with the breeders and the state. Again, commits to a dialogue relative to racing surfaces, which it didn't specifically say it either in the statement, which is just like a sentence, that pretty much what I just quoted, or the article from the Blood Horse. I'll have to look up the actual statement that was put out by the state and see if it's more specific, but you would have to think that means that they're considering a turf course for Finger Lakes, which if so, great move, because I think it changed the whole complexion of racing at Tampa years ago when they put in a turf course there, and that's now become a very, very successful part of their program and what makes Tampa an intriguing track. Finger Lakes should have done it a long time ago. I think Finger Lakes turf racing in the summertime would be a great addition to the New York racing scene. This article quotes some stats that New York bred's responsible for 73% of the total starts at Finger Lakes. So Finger Lakes is an integral part of racing in New York by being a very, very integral part of the New York bred program. So it's good to see that things have kind of gotten hammered out up there. I think things are still a little bit up in the air. You know, we're looking at a 2-year window here. But I think it's interesting, and I have to believe if they did decide to put in a turf course up there, I think it would just raise the profile and the popularity of Finger Lakes. So again, it was interesting. I'll have to get a little more definition on what that statement means, but you would think if they're considering racing surfaces, that's what they're kind of alluding to. All right, we'll take a break. When we come back, Andrew Dembski from Tampa Bay Downs will do a little recap of their big action last weekend and also get some ideas for today. A little bit later, Oaklawn Park. A little bit after that, Laurel. All of that right after this.
Now get all the racing information you need right on your mobile device with Capital OTB's new mobile app. Wager anytime, anywhere, right from your smartphone or tablet. Watch, wager, and win right at your fingertips. The new Capital OTB mobile app. Championship horse racing continues at Capital OTB. There's no better place to watch, wager, and win than OTB TV and CapitalOTBBet.com.
With more than 60 Easy Bet and branch locations throughout the region, you're just a short drive from all the top tracks across the country and around the world. For a complete list of all Easy Bet and branch locations, visit CapitalOTB.com. Capital OTB, we're closer than you think. No matter where in the world you are, the excitement of wagering on horse racing is just a click away. CapitalOTB.com offers live streaming, past performances, race replays, our virtual tote board, analysis and selections from professional handicappers, and a simple, safe, and secure wagering platform. And best of all, you get track prices. Going on now, it's Bet 50, Get 50. Simply open a Capital Bets account, bet $50, and get $50 cash back. CapitalOTB.com. Log on today.
In a recent study of some of the top online wagering sites, Capital OTB won big in total player rewards, far surpassing some of the best-known wagering sites in America. While other rewards programs simply offer you points redeemable for gift cards, Capital OTB's rebates are paid to you in actual cash. Plus, Capital OTB gives you full and immediate access to your money. So if all you're getting now are points and gift cards, join Capital OTB Player Rewards today and get cash back. Visit CapitalOTBBet.com and sign up today.
Hey race fans, head down to the all-new Clubhouse Racebook. With live horse racing on more than 250 flat-screen TVs, state-of-the-art wagering terminals, and amazing Vegas-style atmosphere. The Clubhouse Racebook, 711 Central Avenue, Albany.
This is Racing Across America with Seth Merrow.
Welcome back to Racing Across America, joined now by Andrew Dembski from Tampa Bay Downs. Good morning, Andrew.
Good morning, Seth. Always good to talk to you.
Always good to talk to you as well. And before I get into some of last week and some of today, I have to ask, is it a green jacket today in the paddock for St. Patrick's Day?
I was considering it. I may have to. It's still a bit chilly here, believe it or not. So I might have to throw on a sport coat today.
I did see you wearing kind of a windbreaker type of thing a couple of days ago.
Yeah, it's only been around 60 degrees the last couple of days. We might hit 70 today, so hopefully it's warming a little bit back up. I know I can't complain knowing what the rest of the country is dealing with right now, but when it drops 20 degrees overnight here, it does hit you pretty hard sometimes.
No, we were talking to Ron Nicoletti yesterday, and they were having the same thing over on the other side of the state, and I said to him, I'm coming down in a couple of weeks to reverse that trend, but either way, it looks good to us up here who got socked with that storm over the past few days. But let's go back to last weekend, talk a little bit about the weather there before we get into the specifics on the races. The weather and the crowd, I talked to some people who were down there, said it was a very nice day. Just give us a little overview of Tampa Bay Derby Day.
Yeah, it absolutely was just a perfect day. You know, we were hoping to get around 10,000, and we did. So when you get 10,000 people in Tampa, it's pretty much shoulder to shoulder, and you kind of feel that excitement, and for good reason. I mean, the racing really was fantastic, and I think one of the better parts of the day, realistically, was that nothing crazy really happened. I mean, horses ran to form. There was no real shockers, which was kind of nice to see from a betting standpoint. No craziness, which is good. But I think everybody really had a good time, and of course, with Tappert's explosive turn of foot, I think that was kind of the exclamation point on the day.
Yeah, and let's talk about that a little bit. We'll watch the stretch run. It'll be number 5, Tappert, getting it done for Todd Pletcher. State of Honor, I thought, was a good second. Wild Shot third. I thought No Dozing kind of, I had given up on the Remsen runners, but I thought No Dozing's fourth was okay in here. Disappointment probably is Beasley, who skipped the race last week to run fifth. But, boy, a nice performance by the winner. I bumped Tappert up to number 4 on my top 5 when I was in here Sunday morning. But, again, nice performance by Tappert. We're watching him win by a chart margin of just under 5 lengths here. But also has to flatter McCracken coming out of this effort.
Yeah, absolutely. And, hopefully all systems are go with McCracken. And we obviously hope for the best for him as well. Tappert, I'm going to clearly stay on the Tappert bandwagon. I had a pretty genuine New Yorker reaction to his passing horses, which I can't repeat on air. But it was pretty impressive once you saw Tappert kind of kick it in and start picking off horses one by one. There was kind of no doubt by the quarter pole. I mean, he still had maybe 2 to pass, and still no doubt he was going to draw away with the Tampa Bay Derby. It was pretty impressive, and we'll see if McCracken's healthy. And all indications are he really is. It really was a minor setback, is what it seems, since he's been back on the work tab. But these two will be excited going forward.
Absolutely. And again, nice addition to the Tampa Bay Derby that you would think is going to play into the Derby Trail as we go along and into the Triple Crown races as well. Let's go a little earlier on the card. Stanford maybe getting a little bit of class relief. The betting public certainly believed in Stanford, and as you kind of alluded, things played out as the betting public expected. It'll be number 2 Stanford, Johnny Velasquez, Todd Pletcher winning by just over 3 lengths. Amy's Flatter runs second as the 4-1 second choice. Hereditary third, but really no surprise here with the Pletcher runner coming over from across state, having run second behind Imperative, a close-up second in that Poseidon on Pegasus World Cup Day, comes over to Tampa and gets it done on Tampa Bay Derby Day.
Yeah, he was a good single that day, and very impressive. I mean, I think this horse could win anywhere. I hope if he goes back to Charlestown, he'll win there. It's just, he won so easily in track record time, and he beat a decent enough field.
Yeah.
It wasn't a tremendous field of horses for the Challenger, but the way he did it, I mean, absolutely in hand. I'm not sure John Velasquez ever had to even show the horse a stick. It was really impressive. So Stanford, very cool to see this horse show up here and win in the fashion that he did.
Let's move on to the Florida Oaks, because that was intriguing with Lock Coronel making the seasonal debut. This was a horse that had a lot of buzz last year. A little bit disappointing as the 4-1 favorite in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies turf, but Lock Coronel on the comeback took a lot of action. 4-5 favorite, winds up second in here, but it's a seasonal debut for the Mark Cassidy runner. So number 5, Lock Coronel second. Some nice value on 55. The winner here, number 6, 55, 4-1. Came off a pretty good effort. Close up third in the Swedish Chant last time over at Gulfstream Park. Compelled for Tommy Proctor, runs third in here. I thought all 3 of the top runners are going to be players in this kind of subdivision of 3-year-old fillies on the turf.
Yeah, I would think so as well. I mean, it really was an exciting finish in the Oaks, too. Everyone was digging in the stretch there. Even Dynatail was really trying in a stretch. It's good to see for Mike Dini's horse, who was coming off 3 straight wins, 2 local victories. Lock Coronel ran huge. I thought off the layoff that was a great effort, and 55 kind of ran the same race as she did in the Swedish Chant, coming from near last with this big rally out in the center. This time, of course, she does get the job done. I thought she was very impressive. Jose Ortiz was pretty high on her after the race, so we'll see where she goes. It's never easy to bet those deep closing types, but 55 did look good coming over the top of that field.
And finally, let's take a look at the Hillsborough, because we anticipated, and it's the way it worked out pace-wise, that Isabella Sings would take them all the way around, potentially. She got run down in this race last year by the great Tepin. No Tepin in here. Well, Isabella Sings went out and did set the early pace. Isabella Sings, the number 6 horse, but winds up getting caught late by number 3 Dickinson, and Alicia's World, the number 5 horse, runs second. Dickinson, the 3-1 second choice for Kieran. Nice performance here. Again, when you run down Isabella Sings, a very classy front runner, that's a pretty good performance.
Yeah, absolutely. It is Isabella Sings. I mean, she ran her race. She never won the mile and an eighth, so like every horse player, I said, I'm going to beat her today. And I didn't beat her with much. I beat her with the second choice, but when you knock out a favorite, it always helps. And Dickinson ran a good race. She was able to sit close enough, and that really is the key to not let Isabella Sings get too far away like she did last year when she ran the most eye-opening race I've ever seen. But she didn't do the same. Didn't employ the same tactics. She ran an honest race up front. A couple horses were able to sit close enough. Dickinson ultimately gets the job done, but Dickinson looks like a good one now with 2 straight Graded Stakes wins.
Yeah, absolutely for Kieran. He's got a nice one there. So again, nice stakes action down at Tampa on Saturday. And what is it? The Florida Bred Day comes up, next Sunday or 2 Sundays down?
Oh, goodness. I want to say it's 2 weeks from this week.
Yeah, I heard Rich
Florida
Grunder.
Cup Day, it's the 2nd, so April 2nd.
Yeah, so a couple of weeks, because I heard Rich Grunder mention it, but that's another big day on your calendar to look forward to.
The 6 stakes races for Florida Breds, the purses are up to $100,000 this year, so we should get some nice horses coming in.
Yeah, you had a big day on Saturday, but I said it last week. That's not the end of the nice stakes action down at Tampa. But let's get some ideas for today. Before we do, again, update us a little bit on the weather. Still a little chilly, but what do you have as far as sunshine, precipitation? What's it look like today?
Well, I don't see a cloud in the sky,
Nice.
so it's going to look really nice. For me, until it gets to 75, I'm still going to be buttoned up, but I have 70 today, so it should be a comfortable day for racing.
Sounds good. All right, let's kick things up. Taking a look at race number 4. We're on the grass, a conditional claimer, 16 tags, non-winners of 2 lifetime, mile and a 16th on the turf. What did you see in race number 4?
Well, I'm going to use this 5-horse, Faubourg Marigny, which I'm sure I'm saying incorrectly. He ran some big races here last year. Broke the maiden for 32, did it pretty impressively. Ambitious spot in the Pasco last season. He comes back and almost wins a starter allowance on the turf. So I know this horse likes the Tampa turf. They brought this one back, tried to get him on the turf February the 18th, comes off the turf, shows a little speed that day, backs out of the race. That's okay. I definitely needed that race off the layoff. I think back on the lawn today with Ronnie Allen getting the call, and Ronnie Allen's ridden the turf brilliantly this season. You might get somewhere around that 5-to-1 morning line price off the absolute clunker. So if Faubourg Marigny runs back to the race from last season, there's some value in the 4th race.
All right, let's move on to race number 8, another conditional claimer. Again on the grass, 16 tags, non-winners of 2 lifetime, mile and a 16th on the turf. Your thoughts in the 8th?
Well, if you're going to try to beat the 5-horse, Honor Earned, which I'm going to try to do, I think the 9-horse is intriguing, always got the hammer. Never easy to beat winners for the first time, but always got the hammer as a horse I've kind of been chasing for a while. He is a trouble-prone horse, absolutely. Gets himself in trouble all the time. Last time out, Wilmer Garcia got the mount and did break the maiden pretty convincingly. The way the horse kicked away from that field was kind of eye-opening. So I'm kind of hoping this horse is just going the right direction and hoping for another trouble-free trip with Wilmer re-riding.
Yeah, sometimes they break through and they can string a couple together pretty quickly after that. Kind of figure it out. The 9th race today, it is, oh, wait a minute, let me skip on to the 10th race today. 10th race today is a maiden claimer, $16,000 tags. Again, we're on the turf at a mile. Your thoughts on the 10th?
Yeah, I have 2 horses that I like in here. Now, the 9 did scratch. That's kind of a big scratch. Shaq's Legacy, who was dropping from special weight all the way down to the bottom. Maybe the connections got cold feet. Not sure for the reason of the scratch there. But I do like the 5 and 6 a lot in here. The 5 horse is Sanger, a horse who I've chased for a while. Literally put a line in my program through the last or through the races February 19th, January 15th, and January 4th. The 4th, the horse had an impossibly wide trip. The 15th, the horse stumbled at the start, never really recovered. Then the horse runs maiden special, totally over her head, and then runs on the main track last time and runs a decent race. But I know this horse likes the lawn. She just needs a good trip. So fingers crossed today, Sanger finally gets the trip. The other horse who I like in here is Of Horse I'll Win, the 6 horse. the Pure Prize filly for Dave Fisher with Boulanger back aboard. A horse-all win, didn't do much running at Gulfstream in debut. Runs here against the boys, February 26th. All things considered, decent enough effort. Passed a few late, showed interest, and we're back in with the fillies today. So a horse-all win at 8-1 morning line. Interesting back to the girls.
All right, sounds good. Andrew, as always, we appreciate the visit. Good luck this afternoon. We'll talk again next week.
Thanks so much, Jesse. Take care.
Andrew Dembski from Tampa Bay Downs. We'll head to a break. When we come back, we'll shift our attention to Oaklawn. Jeff Taylor right after this.
This is Racing Across America with Seth Merrow.
Funding your Capital OTB bet account is as easy as 1, 2, 3. 1. Easy money. Clearly the fastest and easiest method of depositing funds into your account. Make deposits or withdrawals in just minutes. 2. Green Dot Money Pack. Gives you instant access to your funds. Green Dot Money Packs are available at thousands of retailers nationwide. And 3. MasterCard Visa. Simply click on the link from the funding page, enter your account information, and fund your account. CapitalOTBBet.com. Log on today.
Hey, we've got a new show.
We do.
Absolutely, and they're off right here on the OTB TV network Sunday morning.
What's it all about?
It'll be a lot of fun. Fast-paced, plenty of topics, guests, handicapping, commentary, and maybe some opinions.
I have opinions on my opinions.
And we will have plenty of them because you're on the show. And they're off Sunday mornings here on the OTB TV network, 10 a.m. each Sunday. Should be a lot of fun. Anthony Mormino, Seth Merrow. We'll see you there.
I'm sorry, I went. Come on.
I want sales reports on my desk by Monday.
Whoops. My bad.
Love racing? RTN brings you every live simulcast on your home television, plus live video streaming and race replays on your PC and mobile devices. To order, visit RTN.tv. RTN, a breed apart.
Not at the track and not near a computer? No problem. Wager with Capital OTB's Touchtone Wagering System and you'll never get shut out again. Capital OTB's Touchtone Wagering System is quick, simple to use, and guarantees your wagers are accurate and placed on time. For more information, visit CapitalOTB.com or call Capital OTB's customer service hotline at 800-292-BETS. Capital OTB's Touchtone Wagering System. Never get shut out again.
Welcome back to Racing Across America. As promised, Jeff Taylor from Oaklawn Park joins us. Good morning, Jeff.
Good morning, Seth, and happy St. Patty's Day.
Yeah, and I kind of laughed. Just as we came out of the break, you were telling me they print the program in green today.
Yeah, it's always been a tradition here. Always big day here at Oaklawn. St. Patty's Day. Right downtown this evening, so yeah, big hats.
I like that. All right, we're going to do a little bit today, and we're also going to take a look, obviously, at the big day on Saturday. But just before we do that, I just wanted a couple of quick comments from last Saturday because I think we have a horse that could be interesting on that 3-year-old filly trail. Obviously, everybody's chasing Unique Bella, but I thought it Tiswell, shipping in for Jerry Hollendorfer, looked pretty good in the Honeybee. But boy, I think Whitmore can really be a player in the sprint division this year.
Yeah, I was fortunate enough to draft Whitmore in my fantasy table Tuesday before last Saturday's Hot Springs, and boy, he's everything we thought he would be and more. Now, if he takes it up to another level, we'll just have to wait and see, but it would have taken an awful good horse step to beat him last Saturday.
Yeah, it was impressive, and again, it Tiswell looked pretty good, again, in the Honeybee also.
Yeah, I mean, I think we're going to see that probably in the fantasy here next month. Hollendorfer ships her east, and probably a couple other fillies maybe get on that same bandwagon with Unique Bella being so dominant on the West Coast. Their loss is our gain. It should be an interesting fantasy here next month.
Yeah, it should be interesting. All right, let's take a look at some of the action for today. We'll kick things off in race number 3. Oh, first, give us a little update on the weather.
Cloudy, overcast, just a few spritzes of rain. We're not expecting much, if any, in the way of moisture. Tonight may be a different story, but I still don't think we're going to get enough to really affect the surface either today or tomorrow. Fast track, I think, both days.
Sounds good. All right, let's kick things off in race number 3 today. Conditional claimer, 25 to 30 tags, non-winners of 2 lifetimes, 6 furlongs the trip. What did you see in the third?
I'm a big fan of Brad Cox off the claim. I didn't get past the rail here with number 1, Le Pen. 40% Brad is when he halters one, and he has done so even more successfully here at Oaklawn. I think his number is probably even higher. The fact that he went out and got Santana, the perennial leading rider here, I think speaks very highly of Lepan's chances. Easiest to maiden winners last time out. I think he doubles up at a decent price.
Sounds good. Let's move on to race number 5. Fifth race this afternoon is a starter allowance at the 7,500 level. They're going to go a mile. Your thoughts on the 5th?
Yeah, kind of an interesting condition, Seth. This race is supposed to have started for 7,500 in either the last or next to last start, so it kind of limits the pool there. You really traditionally think of starter allowances being really deep and tough, kind of older veteran claimers, but a little different story here. I'm going to horse that looked very good in winning a hybrid 75 last time out. Steve Asmussen owned and trained, and that's a nice angle to use here at Oaklawn. He just seems to do better with his own horses for some reason here. Not that he doesn't with other people's. He's a 4-time training champ here, I think, at the very least. But 8-1, number 11, Sky Alert. Kind of a pace play here, too. There's some sprint speed stretching out in this thing. I think it goes really quick early and melts down up front. Down the lane, and Sky Alert certainly knows how to rally from well back, and I think this one picks up all the pieces. 8-1 in the morning line for the 11th Sky Alert.
Yeah, and Steve Asmussen had one of the all-time best starter allowance horses. Used to bang around that starter 5,000 level, Golden Hair, a few years ago.
Yeah.
But as you say, they got into a claiming race, and they were in that 5,000 starter for probably about a year. This is kind of a unique condition, having been in there in the last couple of races.
Yeah, I'd say it kind of, we run a lot of these hybrid 75s, as I mentioned, on 4 lifetime or since date, and kind of gets those guys a chance, maybe not to face the heavy hitters from 75, because they do have a very good starter program here, culminated with the always interesting mile and three-quarter final race of the year, the Trails End after Arkansas Derby. Those kind of in a different bracket, if you will, these starters today. A little softer, perhaps, but it gives them a chance to get a piece of it.
Yeah, because typically those are pretty salty races, but this does have that condition. All right, the 8th race this afternoon, optional claimer, 62,500. Non-winners are one other than 6 furlongs the trip. Your thoughts on the 8th?
Well, I'd originally liked the 2 in here, Greeley and Ben, Seth, but I think they're going to scratch out today and go. He was cross-centered in a mile race with this condition tomorrow, and I think we're going to see Greeley and Ben then at a pretty decent price still. But I'm going to scratch into number 5, Conquest Wildcat, in the feature today, a Triple Crown nominee for trainer Randy Morris, who continues to quietly have a very good meeting here. I really like the turn back to a sprint distance for Conquest. This horse likes to stalk and pounce going short. Went to the front, was a little bit slow to settle last time out in that route try. Back to one turn today for Conquest. Alex Concherry, one of my favorite jocks, up at a price at 10-1 in the morning line. Won't be that with Greeley and Ben's defection, but anything 6-8-1, I think, on the 5 is still worth the play.
All right, let's move out to Saturday. A really nice stakes card on Saturday. Let's kick off our look with the Azeri Grade 2 event, $350,000. These are fillies and mares going a mile and a 16th. Eskin for Money comes over for Todd Pletcher. Certainly just on that aspect, the horse is interesting. But I'm going to pull up the Bayakoa from February 18th, because if you pull up Merriam-Webster, open up the dictionary and look up horse for a course, Terra Promessa is in there, because this was running her record over the racetrack to 5 for 5 at Oaklawn. Terra Promessa is going to be the number 2 horse here. She's back in on Saturday in the Azeri. Do you go back past Terra Promessa, or off of performances like this, are you on board?
No, I can't pick against her. I don't like picking chalk any more than the next guy, but she's just so dominant, and there's not any pace in there again, Seth. I think she gets lonesome up front as she did in the Bayakoa, and she just has a very nice way of going when she's on her game. And when she gets into cruising gear, it's very, very tough for anybody to run her down. Lonesome speed's always tough, but with Terra Promessa and her love for this racetrack, I just don't see any way around she gets beat tomorrow.
All right, let's move on to the Essex. $250,000 for the handicap division, a mile and a 16th. This is kind of a fun field, and I wasn't quite sure where to go with the replay. I looked at a few different horses. Shotgun Cowboy comes in off a couple of nice wins at Oaklawn in optional claiming company. More Spirit obviously is going to attract plenty of attention just with the connections. It's a Bob Baffert runner. Nice close-up second in the San Antonio last time with a triple-digit buyer. The aforementioned Brad Cox is in here with Dazzling Gem, who seems to be in some pretty good form. Secret Passage for Donnie von Hemel. Dalmore had shown some promise earlier in the career and is capable of firing. Comes in from Southern California. A couple of big numbers recently for Domain's Rap. But I pulled up the Poseidon from the end of January, the undercard to the Pegasus. The winner here is Imperative. Second is Stanford, and running third is going to be number 6, Made from Lucky. Mixed results here because Stanford came back and won the stake. We just watched it earlier, in fact, at Tampa. Imperative, meanwhile, was in the big cap and ran poorly. So as they say, mixed results from the first two runners. But I thought coming out of this, given what Stanford did, made from lucky is kind of interesting for Todd Pletcher, but you can make a bunch of arguments in here. What did you think in the Essex?
Well, I wouldn't surprise me if Made from Lucky did get a piece of it, Seth, but this horse has not won in 18 months. And while this is not probably grade 1 company, he's been in some grade 3s where he has not delivered either. And I thought he was in good position last time in the Poseidon and really didn't punch through like a sure enough good horse did. And I know he got in a little bit of trouble, but I don't think that beat him. I'm going with Dazzling Jim. This is another horse for course angle here. Bridge Mahon is coming in to ride him, and Sean did a great job on Dazzling Jim here in a kind of a mini run toward the Triple Crown Trail. It was rather abbreviated for Dazzling Jim last year, but this horse likes Oaklawn without a doubt. He has not won in quite some time either, but he did just miss in each of his last two down at the fairgrounds, the last a grade 3 mine shaft, to a pretty good group, I thought, that day. And he's going to have a little meat on the bone when it comes to price, probably 7-8 to 1. I think that morning line is pretty accurate of how the players are going to play here. More Spirit will draw a lot of play, obviously, the Baffert connection. And while Bob has simply dominated 3-year-old ranks here in recent years, his older runners have not fared as well. So I might work around him a little bit. Shotgun Cowboy looked very good in his 2 wins, as you mentioned. Horse I wish there was a little bit more pace for in here is Secret Passage, who just ran an absolutely scary last quarter of a mile in that optional to the exits. He looked hopelessly beaten even as late as the 8th pole, and I don't editorialize with my comments in Equibase and the Racing Form much, but I did simply put exploded because that's what he did. Wouldn't surprise me if he got a piece of it, too, at a price.
Yeah, I think it's a fun race, and as I say, you can make arguments for a few of them. And speaking of making arguments for a few of them, the Rebel loaded, nice full field, competitive. The Triple Crown Trail so far early in the year has been very fluid. It's going to be fun to see what happens in the Rebel. Grade 2 event, $900,000 up for grabs, going 8.5 furlongs. I pulled up the February 12th race from Gulfstream. Malagasy for Todd Pletcher comes over off of 2 big wins, including the one we're about to look at. He's going to be the number 3 horse here. It is an allowance optional claim, or it is only start number 2. He's very lightly raced. This was 6.5 furlongs. First try around 2 turns on Saturday. First time in stakes company. So there are all kinds of question marks, but he looks pretty good so far. However, you have American Anthem coming from Southern California for Bob Baffert. We know how well he does on the move over to Oaklawn. John Sheriffs brings in Royal Mo off a win in the Bob Lewis. Petrov, I think, is really intriguing, although stuck in a little bit of a bridesmaid mode over the last few starts. Untrapped comes up from Fairgrounds. Uncontested in here for Wayne Catalano. Boy, what an intriguing edition of the Rebel. What are your thoughts?
It is. It's and this is kind of come to be, I think, the metric is interesting here. This is almost going to be a standalone Derby prep. And I don't mean for the Arcade Derby because the money's right. To win and you're in, basically 50-30 the points. So you're going to see a horse conceivably that could go right to the Derby from the Rebel this year. That's got a lot of people thinking maybe how these 2 races here, meaning the Arkansas Derby, is going to shape up next month. Extremely deep field, as you mentioned. But one thing I think is the constant in here is the amount of early speed. I just see it going very quickly up front unless I'm absolutely looking past maybe some of these horses that seem to want the early advantage. Malagasy, I think, form looks a lot like one-liners who came in and looked very good in winning the Southwest Stakes last month, lightly raced, first time around 2 turns, et cetera, et cetera. So the fact that Castellano comes in to ride this colt, I think, speaks volumes of their potential, maybe what they're thinking, what he can do down the road. I am going completely outside the box here, Seth. I mean completely outside the box with number 8, Silver Dust. I know he doesn't look as classy maybe these couple of these others. He was kind of an even 4th-place performer in the Southwest to the aforementioned one-liner, but this is an improving colt. Corey Lannery thinks enough of him to come in to ride. Randy Morris, who's starting to heat up as far as his runners go, is going to saddle Silver Dust tomorrow. Very nicely bred. They paid $500,000 for this colt. He's a Tappet out of a hard-spun mare. That's some solid bloodlines there, I think, as far as getting the middle distance. I just think he surprises, and it wouldn't really surprise me if anybody won this race, and I mean literally anybody can win it. I think some things are going to happen the way the 3-year-old Victor panned out this year. It's almost been a curse to be a favorite in any of these preps. Anthem probably is obviously the one to beat coming in from the West Coast. But I see some strange things happening tomorrow, if for no other reason than the very hot pace. And Silver Dust, I think, is going to be running late. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I think it's a really, really nice race, and I think there could be some value to be had. Jeff, as always, appreciate the visit. Thanks for the thoughts. Good luck, and we'll talk again. Thanks, Seth.
Jeff Taylor from Oak Lawn Park. We'll take another break. We'll shift our attention. We'll go up to Maryland. They have a big stakes day tomorrow as well. We'll hit on a few of those with Frank Vespi right after this.
I'm Mark Cassano. Join me Saturday mornings at 10 for Down the Stretch. We'll inform, analyze, and welcome in the biggest names in racing. So join me Saturday mornings at 10 for Down the Stretch, right here on the OTB Television Network.
Championship horse racing continues at Capital OTB. There's no better place to watch, wager, and win than OTB TV and CapitalOTBBet.com.
Like to play Aqueduct or Belmont Park, but you live upstate? With Capital OTB, your favorite tracks are closer than you think. With more than 60 easy bet and branch locations throughout the region, you're just a short drive from all the top tracks across the country and around the world. For a complete list of all easy bet and branch locations, visit CapitalOTB.com.
In a recent study of some of the top online wagering sites, Capital OTB won big in total player rewards, far surpassing some of the best-known wagering sites in America. While other rewards programs simply offer you points redeemable for gift cards, Capital OTB's rebates are paid to you in actual cash. Plus, Capital OTB gives you full and immediate access to your money. So if all you're getting now are points and gift cards, join Capital OTB Player Rewards today and get cash back. Visit CapitalOTBBet.com and sign up today.
Hey, race fans, head down to the all-new Clubhouse Racebook and get in the game. With live horse racing on more than 250 flat-screen TVs, state-of-the-art wagering terminals, fantastic food and drinks, an amazing Vegas-style atmosphere with seating for nearly 900 of your closest friends. Conveniently located at 711 Central Avenue, right off Exit 5 of I-90 in Albany, the Clubhouse Racebook is the better choice.
Jackie Angelucci on the outside, Ali Chiba. Ferdinand has the lead. Ali Chiba, a final surge. The two Derby winners hit the wire together. Ferdinand and Ali Chiba in a dramatic photo finish.
This is Racing Across America with Seth Merrow.
Welcome back to Racing Across America, joined now by Frank Vespi from the RacingBiz.com to talk a little Laurel stakes action for tomorrow. Of course, the RacingBiz.com, if you want to keep up with racing action in the Mid-Atlantic region, no better place to do it. Good morning, Frank.
Morning, Seth. Good to be with you.
Speaking of the website, I just pulled it up a few moments ago. There's a nice little preview of the stakes action if folks want to go. There are actually 5 stakes. We'll talk about 3 of them, but you've got a preview of all of those. Also an article, I haven't read it yet, but I'm going to be intrigued, maybe a little resurgence of racing in Virginia. But as I say, if people want to keep up with the Mid-Atlantic region, the Racing Biz, the place to do it.
Well, thank you. We certainly appreciate that. The Virginia situation is complicated.
Yeah.
I guess is the word we want.
And you know, it was unfortunate with things that as they happened over the past couple of years there. But given that situation, I think it has played into the resurgence in Maryland, and that is really one of the good stories in racing in America over the past 2 years. I would say there really has been a resurgence in Maryland.
Yeah, it's really, you know, you and I have spoken about this previously. It's a remarkable thing when, I think back just a few years, and there was a total bunker mentality in Maryland.
Yeah.
You know, everybody was just keep your head down because if you look up, you might get shot. And now all of a sudden, everybody's walking around with a swagger and feeling good about themselves. It's been a real sea change. It's been astonishing.
Which has been great to see because that really is one of the stalwarts of American racing, the Maryland circuit. So it's great to see things getting back to a good place. And part of that is a nice stakes program at Laurel, and we're in for a good day on Saturday. As I say, we'll hit on just a few of them, but let's kick things off looking at the private terms on Saturday. 3-year-olds, $100,000, mile and a 16th. This is a fun race. We have a field of 7 in here scheduled. And while we talk, going to pull up the Miraclewood from the middle of February. It's going to be O Dionysus, the number 4 horse, winning pretty easily as the 4-5 favorite. Disappointing that day was the second choice at 3-1 High Roller. He had come off a win in the Frank Whiteley previously, but runs a disappointing fourth as the number 7 horse. So again, it's O Dionysus getting it done. High Roller disappointing a little bit. But boy, you add into the mix tomorrow, Twisted Tom comes in for Chad Brown. No More Talk comes in with some nice improving buyer numbers. Same situation for hashtag Alex for John Service. This is a really intriguing addition, but I think the betting public's going to tilt towards O Dionysus off of this performance. What are your thoughts on the private terms?
Yeah, I mean, I think you're right. O Dionysus was just ultra impressive in the Miracle Wood, and he's a horse. I was talking with his breeder, David Hayden, probably a couple of weeks ago now, and the thing with O Dionysus is, if you want to look at him and say he's just another, he's fine for races like the private terms, there's plenty of evidence to point to that. And if you want to look at him and say he's a different kind, maybe he's better than these, there's evidence for that too. And the Miracle Wood certainly would argue for the latter perspective. I mean, his connections are thinking Preakness with him. They're thinking here, Tessio, Preakness, and he won the Miracle Wood like a good thing. Now, is he that good? Well, I don't know. There's a couple defeats in his past that make you wonder. And I think one thing you got to look at here that is a little bit tricky is Javion Toledo, who's riding him. He's going to have to make up his mind right away what he wants to do with this horse in the private terms, because he's got hashtag Alex to his inside has speed, Greek Prince to his outside has speed, and you have a very short run up to the first turn. So if you don't get yourself situated right away, you can end up in the parking lot, which could be a problem here. So very curious to see how Toledo plays this and how this horse runs. I mean, I think you mentioned there's all these interesting horses here. I mean, I got to say, if Twisted Tom were trained by Seth Merrill or Frank Vespi, he'd be a toss for me. But he's not. He's trained by Chad Brown. And when Chad Brown shows up in Maryland, you have to pay attention to that. So you kind of got to look at him. I think High Roller, the question with him is, was it the distance that got him in the Miracle Wood where he kind of backed up late? I'm going to go with maybe it wasn't the distance. Maybe it was that he got the lead after 3/4 and then kind of got a little bit out of his game. And I think this is a race with enough speed that he'll be able to kind of sit back and make a run. And I like the fact that they gave him a 7/8 of a mile work just about a week and a half ago. So I think he'll run an improved race here. And I also think you touched on hashtag Alex. I mean, the most interesting thing in his past performances is he broke his maiden against winners. He ran second in a maiden race just behind a horse named JJ's Candy, comes back and just obliterates the field, including JJ's Candy, in an allowance race. So, interesting spot for him. Obviously, John Service must be thinking good thoughts about this horse to have done that with him and then go straight from there to a stake.
Yeah, I think it's a fun race. You made a great point about High Roller. As you look, it seems like maybe he did, looking at his previous races, did make the lead a little earlier than maybe he was comfortable with last time. So being able to sit back a little bit may play into him. And yeah, I'll be interested to see what the odds are on Twisted Tom, because with Chad Brown there, the horse has to take some action, but won in New York against New York breds last time at 9-1. What will he do in this stakes race? Because again, I'm sure the betting public will jump on the Chad name. It's going to be a fun race. Intriguing edition. 3-year-old fillies in the Caesar's Wish, also on Saturday, $100,000. They're going to go a mile. This one's intriguing as well. We have a field of 8 scheduled here. Crab Cakes was a little bit of a disappointment last time in the wide country. Ran second as the 6-5 favorite. Prior to that, had ripped off 3 straight wins to start the career. Sine Wave, 2 for 2 so far, lightly raced. Tickled Pink for Graham Motion, won the career debut last time. But I pulled up the last race from Genda's Agenda. It's an allowance optional claimer, February 19th down at the fairgrounds. Genda's Agenda, short field of only 4 in here, but Genda's Agenda, the number 5 horse, wins as the 3-5 favorite. That runs the record to 2 for 2. Larry Jones trainee. I find it intriguing that they decide to come up from the fairgrounds and try this company up in Maryland tomorrow, Saturday. So for me, Genda's Agenda looks kind of logical, but what did you see in the Caesar's Wish?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, Agenda's Agenda has been super impressive so far, 2 for 2, as you said, and you like to see Gabriel Saez coming along for the ride for Larry Jones, and there's every reason to think that this filly could be a handful in here. Now, having said that, she is a speedster. I mean, she's been in first at every call so far in her young career, which is also the case with Shackelford's Lady, who was also 2 for 2. You got Forever Liesel, who has been in front early in her last couple of starts. So you have some speed in here, and I think if there's a thing that makes Agenda's Agenda vulnerable, to me, it would be the speed. And if you're gonna say that, then to me, and I am going to say that because I'm always looking to beat the favorite. To me, the 2 horses that I am giving a little bit of a look to, I mean, you could look at Sign-Wave, but I think her speed figs are a little bit light. 2 I'm looking at are Aspen Hilltop and Tickled Pink. And I'll tell you, both Aspen Hilltop debuted at Saratoga, rallied from 8th place, a mile off the pace to win at First Asking in a maiden race there. The horses she beat, the second and third place finishers, Burns came back to be second in a grade 3. Jameson and Ginger came back to be second in a grade 2. So, beat a couple of real horses there. Had an issue last time where she stumbled over a fallen rival and the jock just wrapped up on her. I think she gets a pace that she wants here, a setup she's going to really enjoy, and I think she's going to be heard from in this race. And Tickled Pink may be the same sort of thing. I mean, she dusted a short field in a maiden race, and I happened to be there. It was at Laurel that day. Trevor McCarthy rode her. It was interesting because when, she made the lead and looked like she was going to win by a pole, won by a couple lengths, won pretty easily, never was asked by McCarthy. As he pulls up to the winner's circle with her and the assistant trainer comes out, McCarthy said to him, "Wow." So this was a filly that, like I said, at the quarter pole, she was, as McCarthy put it, I was wondering how much she was going to win by. And, she got to fooling around a little bit in the lane, but there's a lot of talent in this horse.
All right, and finally, let's move on to the Harrison Johnson Memorial, $75,000 up for grabs, a mile and an eighth. Frank, you got a couple of minutes left, but you and I were talking during the break. This is an intriguing race. I said to you, I thought Super Lucky is better than that last race. That just looked like an aberration to me. I could see Super Lucky bouncing back. Bodhisattva got away at 22-1 off a pretty good performance just prior to that and won the John Campbell last time. But we're going to take a look now at an allowance optional claimer, middle of February. It's going to be number 3, Matt King Cole for Linda Rice. Wins with a nice 97 buyer figure in here. Steps back up into Stakes Company after having tried the Wood last year, the only stakes showing on the resume so far, but that indicated they had some high hopes for this horse as a 3-year-old. Maybe they'll get they'll get closer to that potentially in this 4-year-old season. We'll find out more about Matt King Cole tomorrow, but what are your thoughts on the Johnson Memorial?
Yeah, I mean, I as you and I were talking about, I find this race pretty much of a puzzle. You got Matt King Cole, who, as you said, could be any kind, and if he is any kind, he wins here, because none of these guys are any kind. If not, or if he gets cooked in pace, or mile and an eighth doesn't really work for him, if any of those, then there's a bunch of these you could look at. Obviously, if Bodhisattva can run 3 good races in a row, he's going to be heard from late in this one. He has no history of running 3 good races in a row, so that's a question. Super Lucky, as you said, can't possibly be as bad as he was. Now, I would want real odds on him.
Yeah.
I'd want 8 or 10 because he's never won a stake, and I'd like to see him do that before I took short odds. Another horse a little interesting to me, who I think you get longer than the morning line on, is a Fleet Willie, who comes out of the General George, where he ran okay. But does have a win going 2 turns over the strip, and I think he may run better.
Yeah, I wouldn't disagree with that. A couple of decent mid-90 buyers in the last couple. And yeah, Super Lucky, it's going to be interesting to see how the odds do play out. Bodhisattva certainly should take more action than last time. What will a Fleet Willie be? This may be one where you just kind of look at the board and make your decision based on that. But I think it's a nice stakes card coming up at Laurel on Saturday. Frank, as always, we appreciate the visit. Again, folks can go to theracingbiz.com. You guys have a nice wagering guide there for tomorrow as well. Good luck. We'll talk again.
Well, sounds good. Thanks for having me, Seth.
All right, Frank Vespi from theracingbiz.com. Again, nice stakes day at Laurel tomorrow. We hit on the stakes action at Oak Lawn. Let me just remind you that also tomorrow at Aqueduct, the Correction. That looks like a fun race. Close Fall Off, who won that race last year, comes out of a third most recently. Speaking of Laurel, in the Barbara Fritchie, but Close Fall Off for Kieran is in there. Hot City Girl for Linda Rice. Ultimate Holiday for Michelle Nevin. All look intriguing in the Correction. And the ladies are also highlighting things out at Santa Anita and the Santa Margarita. Grade 1 event, $400,000. Finest City, who was last seen winning the Santa Monica at 7 furlongs, stretches to 2 turns. At the end of last year, she won the Breeders' Cup Filly and Mare Sprint. And Val Dory is also in here, trying to continue a win streak of 4, has won the last 4, trying to continue that. Speaking of win streaks, again, reminder tonight in Australia, about 11:45 our time, Winks in the George Ryder tries to run her win streak, I think, to 16 at this point. So keep that in mind for this evening. All right, let me hit the promos here at Capital OTB again. Today, Mega March Madness continues here at the Clubhouse Racebook. Today, tomorrow, and Sunday, all the basketball games, all the racing action, and some great promotional events tied in. Racebook, 711 Central Avenue in Albany. The Bounty Bet continues today. More information on the website on how you can participate and take your chance at that $1,600 plus, capitalotb.com. Coming up on Wednesday, it's the Pick 4 promotion. Brian Addo will be putting together a ticket. More information on how you can get your chance to get in at capitalotb.com. A week from today, mark it on your calendar, because we've kicked up the bankroll to $750. We've kicked up the number of folks who can participate here at the Racebook to 30, another 5 online. That's a week from today. Happy Hour Bankroll returns at the Clubhouse Racebook. And a week from tomorrow, it's Dubai World Cup Day. Mark that on your calendar as well. And mark the reminder that doors open at 8:30. It's an early day, Dubai World Cup Day, a week from tomorrow here at the Clubhouse Racebook. And wagering available, obviously, at capitalotb.com as well. Thanks to our friends at Gulfstream for their sponsorship. Gulfstream Park champions start here. Some nice stakes action tomorrow. We'll hit on recaps on Sunday and they're off. All the great programming continues over the weekend as usual. 9 o'clock Saturday and Sunday, the handicapper support. 10 o'clock tomorrow, it's Down the Stretch with our friend Mark Casano. 10 o'clock on Sunday, Anthony Mormino and I with And They're Off. We want to see you here for all of that. In the meantime, enjoy the races this afternoon. Let's all cash a few tickets. Tune back in for more programming right here tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock.
You're watching OTB TV, a service of Capital Off Track Betting.